Hello wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. Hope you're all doing well. Very well indeed. Now you might have looked at this artwork, you might have seen the title, you might be sitting there thinking, Connor, what are you doing? This isn't a predominantly bass album or artist. What are you doing covering this on this channel? Well, this is something I want to do a bit more with the channel going forward, covering more big artists, more big albums within electronic music, within EDM that, don't necessarily fit the bass remit, which is what this channel is mainly about, but which is still electronic music. And so, I've been wanting to do a bit more of this for some time, and what better way to kick that off than with one of the biggest within EDM that isn't necessarily bass music in the strictest sense, if you will, Illenium, with his fifth album here, self-titled, which came out last Friday. Now you might be surprised to hear this given what I cover for the most part on this channel, but I have been keeping up with his output over time. The first two albums I find for the most part, I would say, largely quite forgettable on all fronts, and then with Ascend, his third album, I think it really levels up on the vocal front in particular, bits of branching out here and there as well with the drops and the concepts, the focal points and whatnot, but the vocals on that album, pretty good all round. Fallen Embers, which followed that, the fourth one, and which was the last one before this new self-titled one, I think saw Illenium really level up with the production, more fleshed out, more rounded off sounds when it came to those drops, those focal points, and elsewhere, different sections as well. But I would say that with the drop ideas for the most part, with those focal points in his music, that they mostly just sound way too similar. I would happily say that 85 to 90% or so are going for that same aimless, faux melodic, reaching for euphoric but not quite getting there approach. Music that's just kind of there as opposed to eliciting any real or genuine emotion through the music, through the note choices, etc. Music that's intended to be as inoffensive and streamable as possible, which, is completely fine, and he does that very well. It gets streams, and that will generate money, of course. It's just not particularly ambitious, and I suppose the best way that I could describe it is that it's as pop-driven and pop-influenced, basically, as electronic dance music can get. So here with this new LP, I'm looking for a bit of ambition with the drop concepts, different genres and whatnot, good production, good vocals as well to go with that. And I'm thinking surely with his fifth album, a self-titled album, as I've said, so it's going to be a bit of a reflection of his style and development as an artist over all these years. Surely this fifth album can have all those things coexisting at once and working towards making a nice, super cohesive album. I'm hoping for that. But anyway, on that note, on the back of that, let's dive into it, shall we? Kicking off with the opener, we have got 16 tunes here, 57.5 minutes long, the album overall also. And the opener is Starfall. Okay, let's go. Pretty nice so far, not gonna lie. Quite a nice opening. Bringing this trancey kind of flavour into it. I'm a fan. Oh, it's going to be a quick follow-up drop. Wonder, one of them. Ooh. I mean, something a lot of artists have done by this point, to the point where it became a bit of a meme within mainstream electronic music, but it fits quite well with this style. Far from the most riveting psytrance driven kind of drop, but it's alright. I think it fits within the song. Not a bad opening that. Really enjoyed how enchanting it was in the beginning. I was talking earlier about note choice not quite being there with quite a few of his drops, but with that introduction there, really did get the note choice on point. Quite charming, like I said. Really brings you into the album and the track. Another quite important thing, I think, is quite a few vocals that he's had. Most of the vocals he's had are just like the normal voice of the featured vocalist, which is obviously completely fine. You don't want to put too much effect on that, but having a vocal here that's got a bit more of a outer worldly kind of vibe about it just provides something new for his style. And I think that's really good as a way of bringing in the album again. Just quite quite effective, that. The heaviness, again, not the most forward-thinking drops I've heard here, but still pretty good, pretty full, pretty rounded with the production. Yeah, hits pretty hard. The psytrance thing following that, I mean, yeah, like I said, many people have done it before, but did fit within the tune, even though it wasn't, yeah, particularly inspired or doing anything particularly new concept-wise within that genre. Quite a bit going on there for the opener, and I think given the breadth of that tune as an opening to kind of bring you into the LP, not that bad, not that bad. Next up, we have All That Really Matters, track number 2 with Teddy Swims.
You can see my scars, 'cause I'm wearing them proud. Even with my broken parts, I feel better now. 'Cause it's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love, love.
This is the exact kind of thing that I'm talking about. Pretending to be melodic, kind of posing as something melodic, but not giving you anything when it comes to the actual melodic slant of it. Just kind of hanging there, you know, very much just there, existing. I just feel like he's made this song 50 times. Genuinely, I've heard this just so much from him. Plus the execution on this heaviness is just pretty flat. The percussion just got nowhere near the amount of punch that it should have, given what it's going for, how kind of grand he was wanting these drops to feel, you know. That isn't to say that it is a wholly, you know, bad track from him. It's fine. I mean, the vocal, fine. The instrumental, the central points, the focal points are quite flat in terms of the execution, but yeah, just there, just fine. And that will be okay for most people, you know. It just has to be inoffensive, streamable. Again, like I was saying earlier in the introduction, I feel like with these vocalists, you know, Illenium's just sound as kind of crestfallen and heartbroken and remorseful and all that kind of thing as you possibly can, and people love it. People find it relatable. Classic tropes when it comes to that kind of vocal. You find it a lot in pop music as well. Next up, we have Worst Day with Max. Simply Max. I think it would be a good time to say, by the way, that I've heard none of these tracks before going into this LP. Zero. So going into it completely fresh. Okay. Could have been. That is lovely. That note hit right there by Mr. Max here. Oh. Little transition there into the next track. That was decent. I didn't mind that one. I like in particular not only the vocal from Max here that just hits those good notes, is a little bit ambitious on that front, not just kind of playing it safe with the note choice with his vocal. I appreciated that. He gets you in the feels here, does old Maxi. But then yeah, also I really enjoy with this track just how short it is, making it proper radio friendly, pop friendly, and you might be sat there thinking, well, you know, not necessarily a good thing just following that kind of trope, but it does make for a nice, compact, short, tidy, well-packaged little cut there. I think Illenium does have a bit of an issue sometimes of making tracks that are way too long, and you have sections within those tracks that just really overstay their welcome, way too long, a bit superfluous, could have been chopped or halved or just left out completely. But here, yeah, you know, keeping it to the point, keeping it succinct, concise, if you will, does that well with that tune. I want to see more of that, if I'm being honest. Track number 4, moving on, is From the Ashes with Skylar Grey. Don't want to do that. I don't think anyone wants to do that. Very much like what is being depicted here in the artwork. got a Christian rock kind of vibe about it. You can just see the people in the, oh no, maybe they wouldn't be doing that. They probably wouldn't be doing that, would they? One thing I will give this track is the repetition from the first half to the second half. You don't want to change too much. Lyrically, vocally, who knows what the second drop is going to be like. It could be completely different, but that kind of continuity, it works. I mean, the snare's just as rough, isn't it? Again, for me, that just falls into the same category of, like, existing, being there, trying to get to that melodic, euphoric place, not quite reaching it. The vocal's fine, it's pretty, it's nice. Some people might say that sounds like a bad thing, and you can interpret it how you want, but that's the kind of vibe it gives off, just nice, pleasant. The execution, in particular with those drops, not really fully there, just felt a bit wooden. Next up, track number 5 is Lifeline with JXDN. Jaden, maybe? I don't know. Someone let me know below. What is this kind of vocal called? Is it pop punk, pop emo? Doing something a little bit different here, to be fair, making the main parts of it centered around organic instrumentation. I mean, whether it was performed live or anything similar in any way with actual instruments, I don't know, but yeah, at least doing that. Again, fine for the most part, just going for the same kind of feel. I mean, slightly different stylistically with the rock kind of instrumentation making up most of it, but the overall feel of it, the message through the vocals, just the essence of it, just not providing anything new really. So again, just not much to comment on there. Next up, we have Eyes Wide Shut with Avril Lavigne, pop legend, pop icon Avril Lavigne, and Travis Barker. More rock vibes. How do we not collectively run out of this kind of lyricism, just like constantly talking about heartbreak and melancholy and stuff like that? Just like how does this kind of vocal just never ever 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 run out? These bits are nice. Some nice notes being hit there, Avril. Travis going ham on that one. Chase! That was alright, a little bit better. I think, again, by virtue of it being shorter, just a bit more compact, a bit more to the point, not loads of superfluous stuff going on there. It just knows what it's good for, cracks on with it. Some good notes hit there by Avril in the chorus. I mean, the rest of it is very basic and bland and just a bit uninspired, just run-of-the-mill, the kind of stuff we've heard before. Loads from her, and also within Illenium's discography, different vocalists here and there. Easier to kind of take as a song in itself, as a track, because of, how brief it is, how, it is over quite quickly. We then have Shivering with Spirit Box, 5 minutes. Big 5-minute tune here. This vocal, it just sounds like all the other vocals, like same tone, same like distant, airy kind of sweet feel about it. What new? What new is it providing? I don't get it. Obviously there's nuance from one vocalist to another, but they're all going for the same thing, the same kind of feel, the same kind of essence. Where's the individuality here? On that front, just virtually nowhere to be found. What is this drop doing? Genuinely. Production there actually pretty decent, like it smacks pretty hard, but where's the emotional engagement? Like where is that? Where can that possibly be had with that? It's just like a aimless kind of reaching out without anything again to just hold on to. One of Illenium's more dynamic dubstep drops, to be fair, and made decently well, you know, not incredible, but that little a little bit of dynamism about his dubstep. I actually don't mind that one for the ambition of it, you know, bringing in and lobbing in and stitching together rock influences with the heavy guitar, the heavy drum usage, and then the dubstep in that, you know, follow-up drop from the first main drop. Yeah, I think it is good, the amount that is being brought together here. When it comes to the individual elements, I think that's where it falls a bit short. The drops, just fine, heard it all before again from him, not really doing anything particular there. I think the dubstep was the one point with the that had a little bit of a dynamism to it, a little bit of something different when it comes to Illenium, when it comes to tracks he's made before in the past and whatnot. So yeah, I do like the different influences that were brought together here. Maybe not the individual sections themselves, they're just fine for the most part, but did have ambition on that front with how much was going on, how it jumped from one thing to another, and at least try to stitch them together here. Following that, we have You Were Right with Woolly and Grab It. Okay, two big heavy hitters within bass music. Let's get it.
I tell myself that everything is fine, but deep inside I know that it's just a lie. You were right. Yeah, you were right.
Okay. Providing something a little bit different. I'm a fan. See, that drop at least has like a melodic progression of some sort to kind of get behind. Whoop, 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 whoop. You know, it's got a direction to it, and the sound choice is pretty good as well. The production overall is alright, so that one feels pretty much, I would say, like the most engaging we've had on the album so far. Some nice, colourful, vibrant kind of synth usage going on there. Okay. One of the standouts so far, I would say, is a mix of instrumental and vocal. Grab It. I mean, yeah, going again for a similar kind of thing with the tone of it, the overall just feeling, the essence of it. I've mentioned these things before, but just having that refrain of You Were Right, you know, permeating the whole track, I think is really good. Just returning to that gives a, you know, a good bit of repetition, just a little earworm that's gonna, you know, latch in your mind and just stick there and make you remember the song. Basically, I think that's deployed very well across the tune. And then with the instrumental, yeah, I think providing something notably different here, Illenium in combination with Woolly, just something a bit more wub-fueled. I mean, it's not, you know, properly going down the dark route or a dark avenue with that, just keeping it still quite colourful and vibrant. But yeah, nice to kind of have that kind of dubstep paced out a bit and just allow to, you know, have its effect on you as it goes on with those heavier moments. Quite simple with what it goes for, but I think that works for it. That works in its favour because it makes it quite easy to follow. There's not too many distractions going on here, and it's also quite nice when the instrumental, like the heavier parts we get, overlap with the vocal and they're kind of playing off each other, working in tandem kind of thing. So yeah, it's a nice tune. Again, I'm not sure it will go down in history as like one of the best Illenium or Woolly tracks or anything like particularly statement making or with a lot of wow factor about it, but for what it goes for, I think it works. You know, not putting that many feet wrong, that one, just a solid track, a solid collaboration, if you will. Next up though, we have track number 9, Insanity, with American Teeth. Nice pipes, Tamika. Damn.
You say it's insanity, but I say this.
Yeah, again, just fine, going for that pop rock kind of feel and flavour once more. Not going to be adding anything particularly new or different to the album or the Illenium discography. I think the important thing with that cut is how short it is. and where it's placed. I think the purpose and the point of it is to be a midway tied over kind of track, whereby it's just essentially stitching together the first half and the second half of the album. It's just that midway point where you're like, okay, I need a quick number here, a quick cut, just to tide the album over, just to keep it flowing that little bit, not really doing anything special or out there or different. Like, the sole purpose of it is just to keep the momentum of the album going with just another quick burst of energy, again, without doing anything notably different or new. So yeah, that's essentially what I could boil that one down to. Track number 10, I think we're on now, yep, is Drown. I'm gonna say DRWN. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have misspelt that. That'd be quite a mishap. But yeah, I think here we have track number 10, Drawn. Maybe he's drawing. Maybe Illenium's gotten into drawing and he's just like, I need to make a song about drawing. I just fucking love me some drawing. How many times can one artist write the same kind of drop? It's mad because that opening, that introduction was quite promising. I enjoyed that quite a lot. The hazy vocal chopping, it was quite distant as well, made it quite uncomfortable, whilst the main part of the instrumentation, the instrumental, was just quite uplifting and hopeful. So that was an interesting contrast going on there. But yeah, I mean, again, just following that up with a focal point, a drop that I'm not really sure I see the point of. Like, I would definitely just hear a track of this, just this stuff, 3.5, 4 minutes, whatever it is, just keep layering on that. You don't need like a focal point, just have that. This one maybe a little bit prettier, a little bit more ethereal, a bit dreamier than what you might usually get from an Illenium drop of that kind, but still, I mean, is there any personality, is there any engagement factor, like true proper engagement factor with it? It didn't need a drop, it didn't need a focal point, it didn't need builds, it just didn't need to follow those tropes, it didn't need to go in that direction. So left thinking about what could have been, in a way. But I suppose that's all music, isn't it? Because nothing's really truly perfect. That's a topic for another time. Track number 11 is Other Side with Said the Sky and Vera Blue. Okay, I'm liking this vocal so far. Oh yeah, you can hear that production. How clean is that? Nice. The idea, again, very basic, not really doing anything particularly of note with the concept, but the production, the sharpness of that, the cleanliness of that sound overall is quite attention grabbing. It does kind of snap the track and your attention into focus a bit. One of the better ones so far for sure, I think, as a combination of instrumental and vocal. Yeah, the vocal hitting some really good notes there from Vera Blue in the builds in particular. Getting the hair standing up on the back of your neck kind of thing. I imagine that is a vocal I'm going to be going back to quite a bit and just enjoying more and more as I hear it more. That'll be a thing. And then the drops here, yeah, they're, again, you know, quite straightforward, quite plain with the concepts. It's not doing anything out there or different or exciting per se. It's just got that cleanliness that really, like I said, just snaps the track into focus and sounds good on the ear. That kind of refined and tidy execution, which you're not going to get that much of with Illenium sound overall, because he goes for the more kind of big room, scaled up, big EDM kind of vibe with his melodic approach. But yeah, that sounded nice. That sounded, again, well packaged. I've said it before with a couple of other shortcuts here that we've had before that one, but yeah, that was nice. Track number 12 is I Want You To Stay. Oh, is that not a Rihanna sample? Oh no. I'll just say it again, just how does my guy, how does anyone just write the same thing, the same drop, just again and again and again and again. I mean, really, you're not, well, I would say you're not fooling anyone, but you clearly are. You're not fooling me, I'll say that. Making decent use, making okay use, I think, of what is quite a well-known sample. You had a couple of weird moments in the first half, in the introduction in particular, where it just went kind of stretched and weird and kind of twisted, actually, in a way. Felt a little bit demented, but for the most part, yeah, I think deploying that vocal snippet pretty well throughout different sections we get here. The drops, I've just, I've got nothing to add, as you can see here quite clearly. See, I'm not entirely sure how this translates over into EDM, like mainstream EDM like this, because with bass music you get a lot of, well, if it's heavy then it's going to go off live, so people just make that again and again and again. And I can see that being the reason why he is making this kind of drop again and again and again. I mean, also beyond that, it is just quite easy on the ear for most people, I imagine. So there's that. I suppose that's why he's making it again and again and again. But also it must just go off live. That is another reason that I can think of why he keeps doing that. Because beyond that, I just don't know why artistically, ambition wise, just when it comes to making music overall generally, I just don't know why. Like I said at the beginning in the intro, just 85 to 90% of his drops just genuinely go for the exact same approach, the same feeling, the exact same kind of tone, all that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm running out of words, quite frankly. Track number 13 though, moving on, is With All My Heart, with either Jake or Duke. It's just so inoffensive. It's like, it's almost trying really, 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 really hard not to do anything offensive in any way, lyrically, presentation wise, drops wise, ideas wise. Just don't do anything out of hand that could slightly turn people away. It's just like, do absolutely everything you can to get the average music listener completely hooked on this music. Now this is what I call pop EDM 23. To be fair, this vocal is quite nice. I like the jumpiness of it. It's on its feet, it's lively, and the notes hit are good. It's engaging. It is one of the most memorable vocals that we've had on the LP so far. But this is just as mind-numbingly unambitious as it gets. I mean, again, what is the point? Like, how do you even dance to this? Like, what is it? What is it doing? Is it doing anything? Can someone tell me if I do want to make clear here how much I enjoy that vocal. I mean, the track could have just been that. It could have been more of an acoustic ballad kind of situation. It's kind of like a couple of tracks we've got earlier here. It didn't need a drop. It didn't need that breakout release. It didn't need that focal point. It could have just had Jake or Duke or whatever just stealing the limelight for the whole thing. It didn't need those focal points to kind of frame the track around. The vocal was carrying it. It was good. It's got liveliness to it. I mean, the lyrics, again, they're fine, but the notes are hit and the flow is there. It's good. But that good is kind of contextualized somewhat by those focal points, those aforementioned drops, whatever you want to call them, that are just so inactive. Again, I'm just not sure what I'm meant to do when I hear that. Just nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Track number 14, we're edging close to the end now, is Back to You with All Time Low. Yeah, I mean, given what I've said before about that kind of track, I mean, that says it all in itself. The fact that I'm saying that kind of track within this LP, it's happened quite a few times. Yeah, nothing really to add. Pretty bereft of anything kind of singling out. This is just, blending into the background and the vibe of this LP. Well, those tracks, again, in particular, the ones that sound like that, of which there are quite a few. Just a bit wallpapery. It doesn't have anything, really, like I said, singling it out. So I will leave that one at that. Penultimately, again, nearing the end, we have Nothing Ever After with Motionless in White. That's a nice name.
All the warning signs we refuse to see, like a hurricane that's drowning me. Fit now, we're falling apart, we're fading away.
Pretty big 30 Seconds to Mars vibe about this one. I'm hoping that riff comes in a little bit later with that gnarly guitar. I'm really hoping that, because that was, you can see it straight away. You can see my reaction just grabbed my attention. I was a fan of that. Come on. Ooh. I mean, the execution, not there, but the idea, I rate it. Bit of attitude. Come on. We're here for it. Very much here for it. Finally, at the penultimate cut, out of 16 tunes, we get a bit of passion, a bit of energy, a bit of excitement, attitude, all being lobbed in here. Sounds good. I mean, again, the execution, not fully there, but conceptually here, it's pretty good stuff. I mean, the highest compliment I can pay that tune, it reminded me of a lot of the pop rock, pop metal bands that I loved as a teenager. It really did. All the facets of it, the vocal, the guitar usage, just the way that you get those staccato staggered drums. Really, with this penultimate cut, bringing a load of flavour, a load of energy, attitude, aggression, all the stuff I was saying earlier, just sounding really good on that front, and all being lobbed into one track, and you're just like, if only we'd got a little bit more of this distributed over the course of the album. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do get little bits of it here and there, but nothing really consistent when it comes to that kind of pure raw emotion. It's all just a bit wallpaper feeling for the most part. Not the most full or rounded sound you're going to get, especially when we're talking about someone as well known and as renowned, as famous as Illenium. You kind of expect that, but conceptually really enjoying that one, from vocal to instrumental, transitioning between sequences, the unpredictability of it as well. So yeah, that is going to be up there for sure with my favourite cuts on the LP. But to close off here, we have Love Me a Little with Nina Nesbitt. Finishing off with an Illenium classic, an absolute vintage staple dose of Illenium here, just to round it off, just to clinch it, just to finish off this project. I mean, at least he is staying true to himself with this final cut, as if to say, this is what I'm really about. This is Illenium, just full flow. It would have been nice, I think, to have a track that maybe didn't sound like so many other ones that he's made to finish the album, because I think for an ending track, you want it to feel like the ending of an LP. You want to feel like you've gone on a journey, but that's just as kind of run-of-the-mill and ordinary and samey as so many other tracks that he's made in the past. I genuinely could not tell that apart from, again, 85 to 90% of tracks that he's made, well, album tracks at least, I'll say that. But yeah, overall with this album, I mean, I did ask beforehand, are we going to get a combination across the LP, across the collection of good vocals, ambitious drops, good production, and I think we do get that in parts here and there, where all three are kind of combining in an effective way. Set the Sky collaboration, the Woolly and Grabbitz collaboration for the most part as well. That penultimate cut we just heard, Nothing Ever After, not the best execution, but really good concepts and just about overall well made enough. But then beyond that, I mean, he's just kind of falling for the same tropes within his style that have made it so samey and predictable and just kind of uninspiring, flat, aimless. I mean, I can keep going on with words like that. I mean, again here, I just don't feel like we're getting that much new from him. I mean, I have only heard it once, and that isn't the best metric for kind of having a rounded take on something, but it wouldn't take a genius or anything particularly mind-bending or brain-stretching to kind of realise that the majority of these tunes here are just very, very, very painstakingly similar to the vast majority of stuff he's put out up until this point. I do appreciate him injecting a bit more of a rock influence here at points. I think that makes for some good results with bits of metal and screamo in there as well, kind of lobbed in parts within the LP. And I do like as well also with it the relationship, the kind of contrast, the difference we get here between longer tracks and shorter tracks. I think he gets that quite spot on. There's a good balance between the longer cuts and the shorter cuts, but when it comes to the material itself, I can't really highlight that much here that is particularly inspiring. I mean, it isn't as much having outright favourites here as just ones that are better than the mostly wallpaper, uninspiring, just flat material that we get, especially drop-wise, for the most part with this LP. Again, I just feel like a lot of these tracks I've heard before from him. So yeah, like I said, don't take this as my complete rounded off finished take on this LP. I don't think it is quite there yet, but those are definitely my thoughts having heard it once, having gone through the album start to finish, all 57.5 minutes of it. Let me know what you think of this album below in the comments if you heard it here for the first time with me, or if you've heard it before, if you listened to the album before watching this video. Thank you for watching the video. Like it if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're yet to and you enjoy general electronic EDM bass music coverage. Got my socials here, got my Patreon there as well if more exclusive content is something you would be interested in. And yeah, I shall see all of you legends in the next one, whatever that might be. Keep it naughty until then. Peace.